is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds.
That Bud was the best. I got to give it to him. Bud the best, right? He hands down. He the best. He the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him his respect no matter what. You got to give him his respect. He just went up 2 weight classes where people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do.
I've been a world champion, as you know, and I've been a 3-division world champion, but I've only won 1 of the belts. I don't know what it is to be undisputed. I don't know that feeling. Do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable.
Stephen A. Smith spoke directly with Floyd Mayweather about his criticism of Terence Crawford after Crawford defeated Canelo. Smith argued that Crawford achieved something historic and noted that very few fighters have remained unbeaten while winning titles across so many weight divisions. He insisted that Crawford earned his recognition and should be celebrated worldwide rather than questioned. Smith emphasized that the victory over Canelo was not just another win but a defining moment that elevated Crawford into the conversation of all-time greats. He made it clear that nothing Mayweather said could diminish the significance of Crawford's remarkable performance.
Best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance.
Mayweather reacted strongly to Crawford's upset win over Canelo and said that defeat will always be part of Canelo's legacy. Canelo had called himself the undisputed ruler of the division and believed he controlled everyone in it, yet he was beaten clearly by a fighter who moved up in weight to challenge him on his own ground. Jeff said this was not just a minor setback but a mark that will stay in boxing history beside Canelo's name. He explained that what fans remember most are the defining moments during a champion's prime, and in his view Canelo's most lasting memory will be the decisive loss to Crawford.
He was in discussion certainly with Chavez. What does this do to his legacy? Because I don't think he caught, the Floyd fight didn't give him, people didn't really look down on because he was, even though he had 40 fights, he was still, fighting one of the greatest ever in an absolute master. And Bivol, he went up weight classes to win. But now he's fighting a smaller guy, a great fighter, but a smaller guy. Does this damage his legacy in any way?
I think it does. I think it does because, the one thing is this, is that, you were ruling, you were the king of that weight class. And the king of that weight class for a good while. And I think that, he had a huge following because, he became the face of boxing.
And even though it's another, future Hall of Famer, still losing, losing a guy come up a couple weight classes, kind of makes you seem not as great as you might have been.
Stephen A. Smith was stunned by Crawford's victory and openly shared how much respect he has for him. He said being present for such a major moment made the achievement feel even more powerful and real. Smith stated that Terence Crawford stands alone in boxing history for moving up in weight and defeating a dominant champion like Canelo in such convincing fashion. He described it as the defining achievement of Crawford's career and the performance that separated him from the rest of the field. He added that the night will be remembered for many years in the sport and believed it was not just another bout, but a moment that reshaped the way people measure true greatness in boxing.
Terence "Bud" Crawford moving up 2 weight divisions, really 3 in my mind, because we only fought 1 fight at the junior middleweight division. So he's really moving up from 147 pounds, okay? Terence "Bud" Crawford moving up to the 168-pound limit in an effort to claim the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world from the grasp of Saul Canelo Alvarez. Now, I was there because let me tell you something right now. There's very, very few sporting events in the world that are better than a super fight in Vegas. I can tell you that right now. There's very, very few events. Props to Nick Khan of the WWE.
Crawford's trainer made it clear that after this fight his fighter had nothing left to prove. In his view, Terence has reached a level where his greatness should be accepted without debate, yet some critics still refuse to give him full credit. That frustration showed that even after defeating one of the biggest stars in boxing, Crawford is still dealing with outside narratives. His manager also shared that Terence is not focused on planning another bout right now because what he accomplished against Canelo already confirmed his place in history. At this stage, Crawford is no longer chasing big names, but aiming to secure a legacy that cannot be rewritten.
Terence Crawford and his well-renowned trainer, two-time trainer of the year and future Hall of Fame trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre, recently did an interview in which Bomac stated that a fight is not happening. And this particular fight is a fight that everybody wanted to see Canelo Alvarez take, and Canelo Alvarez refused to take this fight with a 28-year-old two-division world champion, reigning WBC light heavyweight, former two-time WBC super middleweight, the Mexican Ecuadorian superstar boxer, who's one of my favorite fighters and a great person, David, the Mexican Ecuadorian monster Benavidez, who has 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout, stands at 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach, and fights at 175. But the entire time David Benavidez was fighting at 168, Canelo Alvarez was brought up, and he never accepted the fight. And so, with that said, now people are trying to project this fight on Terence Crawford. And they're saying that Terence Crawford needs to take the fight. So Bomac yesterday did an interview, and Bomac said they're not fighting David Benavidez. And so now people are pushing this notion that Terence Crawford is ducking and Terence Crawford is scared of David Benavidez. And if he don't fight David Benavidez, according to Boxing News 24...
Timothy Bradley was bold in his praise as he compared Crawford to Floyd Mayweather and said that Crawford now deserves to sit at the top of any all-time list. For Bradley, the victory over Canelo was not just about winning a big fight, but about redefining what pound-for-pound number one truly means. He acknowledged that Floyd perfected the art of boxing in his era, yet he believes Crawford proved he could reach an even higher mark by defeating Canelo while he was still at his peak. Bradley felt that this triumph elevated Crawford to the same level as the sport's greatest legends.
Too late now. It might be too late, because guess what? He done. Ain't nothing else he needs to do. Ain't nothing else he needs to do in boxing. Yep, y'all doubt him now? Y'all doubt him now? I saw some of y'all goofies on y'all channels. You come here and you get the real over here. That's what you get over here. You want the real? You want a real breakdown from a real fighter, a Hall of Famer? That's what you do. You come right here and you gonna get the real and you gonna get the truth. Dang it, that's what you gonna get. Leave them other lames alone and come right on over here. Yeah, and get the truth and nothing but the truth. I've been trying to tell y'all for years about this. Been trying to tell y'all for years about Terence Crawford. Everybody put his resume.
Roy Jones Jr. responded in a calm way and explained that both fighters were at their peak when Crawford faced Canelo, unlike when Floyd Mayweather defeated him years earlier. He pointed out that Floyd had the advantage of meeting a younger and less experienced Canelo, which allowed him to outbox him with superior skill and ring awareness. By the time Crawford stepped in, Canelo had ruled the division for years and was fully matured and battle-tested, even though Crawford was the smaller man. Crawford still broke him down and controlled the fight. Roy believes that this makes Crawford's achievement even more remarkable because he overcame a stronger, wiser, and more polished version of Canelo than the one Mayweather fought.
Great in Canelo Alvarez, really 3 weights above his natural weight class. Does that put him in the conversation with the likes of yourself as the greatest fighter of all time?
Yes, it does. And the reason it does is because he couldn't get the credibility down in his own weight class, so he went up to go challenge himself to fight it. And he found a very formidable, good opponent.
Do you think Canelo Alvarez is on the decline or not?
No, I don't think he's on the decline at all.
So you think both fighters are still at their peak, even though they're 36, 37?
Yeah, I think they're both still at their peak. The age for Crawford would seem like he may be beyond it, but he hasn't had the fights, the tough fights we have put him there. And the years of boxing for Canelo would have put him in a position where they're about equal. So I think they both are pretty much in a great place. I think they're both still in their primes, and this is the best time to see them fight.
Duke McKenzie was stunned by what unfolded in the ring. He said Crawford's non-stop pressure-sharp speed and near-flawless execution left Canelo with no answers. He described it as one of the most complete performances he has witnessed in modern boxing and called it outstanding and rare. Mackenzie emphasized that Crawford did more than neutralize the danger. He proved he is extremely difficult to overcome even against elite opposition. In his view, Crawford has raised the bar to a level that very few fighters will ever match, and he spoke with clear admiration and deep respect for what he saw.
That feeling, do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable. He's a 3-time undisputed world champion, and he's beaten the best of the best. Now, for me, there were red flags way before this fight. Not way before the fight. You know, in the build-up to this fight. Canelo's body language in the run-up to this fight, you know, he turned up in Vegas in his stretch limo, in his Armani suit. He's had his kids and his wife in the back of the car, and he's got out and he's strolling around like he owns the gaff. Now, that all that signified to me was a very comfortable man. He was too comfortable, and Terence Crawford just kept it real from the outset. Tracksuit, no nonsense. Went there to win, said what he was going to do, told the world what he was going to do long before the fight. I think he asked for this fight many years ago. The discussion he had with Bill Haney, and I think it was him that actually suggested call out Canelo, which he laughed at the beginning, but then it came to fruition, and now it's come to fruition. I mean, what you saw in that fight yesterday, what I watched in that fight yesterday, it was for the purists. It really was, because you really have to try and understand boxing and know what you're looking at. It was the feints. It was the way that he handled the bigger man. It was the little feints, the little side steps, the little flicking with the jabs, you know, hitting him with the head and the body, the little combinations, the little 2s and 3s, and also with Crawford knowing how to close around, knowing how to win rounds.
The strongest cases for Crawford's greatness came from trainer Robert Garcia, who stated that Crawford achieved more in this moment than Floyd Mayweather ever did. He claimed that Crawford clearly dominated Canelo for most of the fight, winning at least 9 or 10 rounds, and showed a level of hunger that pushed him to take a huge risk. Garcia argued that Floyd never chose to challenge and defeat a naturally bigger champion in that fashion, which makes Crawford's victory rare and unique. In his view, this was not just about titles or records, but about courage and ambition, because true legends separate themselves from icons by daring to take risks and delivering on the biggest stage.
Has already accomplished too much, has already done too much, and he wasn't, I don't see that hunger in him anymore. I don't see those changes anymore. He fights flat-footed, throws one punch at a time. He's not fast anymore, and that's why I picked Crawford by decision.
Are you surprised at how easy it was?
Look, not that I'm surprised, because what I just told you, I think Crawford is very talented, and Crawford is hungry to become a legend. He wanted to become that three division undisputed. He wanted to go up, he wanted to make history by going up 2 divisions to beat Canelo, one of the greatest of all time. So he was hungry for it. I think Canelo has already done so much, has made so much money, that he's not hungry anymore.
Do you think possibly that Crawford is up there with Pacquiao or Mayweather?
I think in accomplishments, he's 3 division undisputed, moved up 2 divisions to beat Canelo. So he's probably he's accomplished more than Mayweather for sure. Mayweather never became undisputed, but that doesn't mean he's better than Mayweather. I think in a fight at welterweight, Mayweather in his prime would beat Crawford, and Pacquiao in his prime would probably beat Crawford. But Crawford has accomplished more.
Do you think Crawford should retire after this or fight someone else?
Look, I think a rematch would be fucking good for Crawford to just beat him again and do the same thing. If Canelo doesn't have any changes, he needs to do a lot of changes. Canelo needs to do a lot of changes. I think a rematch would do triple the money that he did in this fight and then retire. But I would be so happy to hear he retired.
Brian Norman Sr. made it clear that Terence Crawford's performance against Canelo Alvarez was more damaging and decisive than anything Floyd Mayweather had done. Many fans and experts supported his view because it captured exactly what took place in the ring. Canelo, who had long been seen as the top force in the division, was not simply defeated but systematically broken down by a fighter who moved up in weight to challenge him. Crawford's display was so dominant that it reshaped the modern standard of greatness in boxing. For years, Canelo ruled the super middleweight division, built himself into the face of the sport, faced elite opponents, and became one of the most marketable champions of his era. His control and steady pressure made him appear almost untouchable, with rivals often unable to handle his strength. Yet in a single night, Crawford shattered that image. What stunned observers most was not just that Canelo lost, but the manner of the loss. He was not outworked or edged on points, he was outthought and outclassed, left searching for solutions that never appeared.
Bud on Porter, I didn't think that Bud was the best. I got to give it to him. Bud the best, bro. He hands down. He the best. He the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him his respect no matter what. You got to give him the respect. He just went up 2 weight classes what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do, and he is doing it with ease. Right? You got to respect that.
Break it down for me. How did he win that fight in the way you won it tonight?
He won the fight by gaining Canelo's respect. I think he was already in Canelo's head a little bit. I think that even though Canelo knew he was smaller and everything else, these fighters are still humans and they hear what the people are saying. Canelo was I'm sorry, not Canelo. Crawford was undefeated. Look at what he did to the Spence. I mean, look at what he's doing to some of these people. So no matter what, I mean, you have to take that into consideration. You know what I'm saying? Even no matter what he did against Makrimov or whatever else, you got to take into consideration what Bud has been known to do when it's time to do it. You know what I'm saying? So again, I think Canelo respected him, and I think that was the biggest part.
Canelo just said in the press conference that Crawford's better than Mayweather, having shared the ring with Floyd. What do you think?
I mean, I think that's one of the things. I think that's one of the things that's it's opinionated situation with the styles make fights. He beat him up. He beat Canelo up worse than Mayweather beat him up. He definitely did that. So in that case, you can ask the question: did he beat him up worse than Floyd did? Absolutely. But I mean, that would be an opinionated thing because styles make fights. You just never know. You know what I'm saying?
Different eras as
well,
right?
Different eras, different. It's a different a lot of things. You can't. Really.
The legendary Andre Ward placed Crawford's victory within the larger story of boxing history. He said it was the kind of fight fans would talk about for decades because it marked a true shift in the sport. According to Ward, moments like this define careers and separate great champions from legends whose names last forever. What stood out to him most was Crawford's discipline, as he stayed focused, sharp, and fully in control from start to finish without letting emotion affect his decisions. For Ward, that was the defining factor that elevated Crawford into the all-time great category. By defeating Canelo in such commanding fashion, Crawford reached a level in boxing that very few fighters in any era have ever touched.
3 Canelo hours tonight. What was your thoughts on that performance from Terence?
Terence Crawford, great performance, man. He's been doing this throughout the course of his career. The stakes were a lot different in this fight, a lot more danger. He had to fight that kind of fight in order to beat Canelo Alvarez tonight. And he did that at 37, but getting ready to be 38 years old. And he proved, like Max said, that he is the GOAT of this generation. Hats off to Canelo for taking the fight. He didn't have to take it. Hats off to Turkey Al-Sheikh for putting it together. Just a great, great night for boxing.
Yeah. How special a fighter is someone like Terence Crawford? There was no signs of a size disadvantage there. How special?
You can see it in spots, but it wasn't significant. And I didn't think it was going to be significant. And people called me crazy, but I've been around Terence. He's strong. He's got a wrestling background, and people don't realize that he's been boiling himself down all these years and still being successful, not having to do that. His condition seemed impeccable, and his strength was there. The power was there enough to get respect from Canelo. So what more can I say?
What would you like to see him do next? Do you think there's another fight after this?
I'd like to see him be done. What are we boxing for at this point? What else is there to do? There's always going to be a YouTuber or a reporter or somebody conjuring up another challenge. We box to get ourselves in a better financial position, to build a name and a legacy. Those boxes are checked. What else?
That wraps up today's video. Stay tuned and I will see you next time.